Hello. My name is John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Some of you may know me by my nickname, Jack, or by my initials, JFK. I served as the United States 35th President from January 1961 to 1963. At the age of 43, I was the youngest man in history to be elected President of our nation. I am also the only member of the Catholic faith to serve as President. After a brief time employed with Hearst newspapers, I began my political career in 1946 as a representative of Massachusetts. In 1952, I beat the Republican incumbent, Henry Cabot Lodge, and became a U.S. Senator for Massachusetts. After receiving a nomination for Vice President during the 1956 Democratic National Convention, I knew my political career was taking off. Although the presidential ticket I was on did not win, I decided to throw my hat into the 1960 presidential race, with Lyndon B. Johnson as my running mate. Against the Republican candidate Richard Nixon, I knew LBJ and I were destined for greatness. The 1960 presidential election was a watershed moment in our nation's history and the United States political system, as the presidential debates Richard Nixon and I participated in were the first ever debates to be televised. This incorporation of television into politics forever changed the objectives of political agendas, as a candidate's image became a major component of political campaigns. Luckily for me, I wore makeup under those hot, bright stage lights. Nixon, on the other hand, was not that lucky. Did you know that Richard Nixon licked his lips 27 times during the opening statements of our first debate? Although a few senators from Alabama and Mississippi refused to vote for me in accordance with their constituents' votes for me because of my support of the civil rights movement, I was elected president and sworn in on January 20, 1961. My presidency was no cakewalk, especially because of the mounting tension between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. During my first term, the Berlin Wall was constructed, cutting off West Berlin. I tried my hardest to extend our support and assistance to West Berlin. I even gave a speech in 1963 in which I tried speaking in German. For the record, I am not a jelly donut. Cuba was also a great concern for my administration, especially after the failure of our attempts to overthrow Fidel Castro and the discovery of Soviet missiles on Cuban soil. It was hard to see a country so close, and a country the United States has such close political and economic ties to, fall to communism. Not to mention, the Vietnam War was starting to intensify. I never got to see how our CIA dealt with this grave situation. Although my presidency was tough, my administration and I did wonderful things to improve American society. In 1961, I founded a volunteer program that still exists today that helps our nation and 139 foreign nations. We put a man on the moon in our efforts to beat the Soviet Union to space. Perhaps the most important contribution I made to the United States as president was my efforts in fighting for civil rights. Legislation was created to prevent unequal pay. As I stated in my 1963 Civil Rights Address, this nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. Many of my sentiments regarding civil rights are found within the 1964 Civil Rights Act, an act I never got to see implemented. On November 22, 1963, my life ended in Dallas, Texas. I became the 4th United States President to be assassinated. Lee Harvey Oswald shot me as I paraded atop a car with my wife Jacqueline through Dealey Plaza. Although I died at such a young age, my impact upon the United States and legacy still thrives today. My fellow Americans, remember, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.